Good evening. It's been a minute because things have been busy. And then we had this snow situation. So I am back and have a few stories to talk about. But first, I wanted to give you an update on the classes that I will be giving. The first class is going to be how to write a book and make money. The second one is going to be how to prepare your own taxes and then use that knowledge to make money making money doing other people's taxes. Third class is going to be how to create a course. So there are people like me and others that sell courses online. It could be that you have some kind of an expertise where you can create a course and sell it online. And as my mentor says, you create something one time and sell it thousands of times, and that's how you make money. You may have to go back and perfect it after a while, add to it, change some of the information based on changes in the environment, changes in the law, but you still have this course that will be a foundational course and will be something that people will need to help them operate better in the marketplace. So that's the third one. And the fourth course is how to speak on stage. And at the same time, I've added to it how to plan an event because that's my Costa Rica developer that just WhatsApp me. He's going to have to wait because we need to start making some money. We need to start making some money as quick as we can because you all know things are going crazy right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But so I was going to start the courses a little bit earlier, but now I have the link. You will be able to see the link down in the description section. A lot of people wanted Thursday nights. A lot of people wanted Saturdays at noon. What I decided to do is do each course twice. For example, the writing course, I'll give that on Thursday, January 30th from I think 7:30 to 9:30, and then turn around and do it again on Saturday. The next class will be the same thing. So it'll be the Thursday and the Saturday so that I can accommodate as many people as possible. Because originally, when we talked about it, a lot of people picked Saturday, but then as people that weren't on the live started looking at that particular video, a lot of people were picking Thursday also. So you can go and register for the classes. There are 4 classes on there. And again, they come with 30 minutes of consultation after you've done the class and you started working on whatever it is you're working on. And when you sign up, I think there's an area where you can put, I'm so sorry if you all hear that. There's nothing I can do about it right now. I thought I silenced it. I really did. I thought I put it on Do Not Disturb. And for whatever reason, WhatsApp's not uh, complying because I'm hearing all these things, and it's probably good news, but gotta wait. So there's a note section usually, and you'll say Thursday class or Saturday class because I don't know how to. I just made that decision today, so he didn't know. It's not his fault. He didn't know, and I made the decision that I was going to do both days, one class. So the first week will be the 30th through, and then again on February 1st. The tax class will be the next weekend. I think that the other classes are going to fall into the middle of March because I'll be unavailable to do them probably. So anyway, look for that. See if hi everybody, Alice in Wonderland. Hi Les, Bonita. Hi, good evening everybody. So I know that there's this word that I really don't like, and it is conspiracy theory. And my thing is, what's the difference between a conspiracy and a strategy? All of the things that we went through in 2020 and 2021, you all know exactly what I'm talking about, have come out. All of the stuff, the truth has come out. And at least 75 to 80% of the things that we were saying and thinking were true, even though they were vehemently denied at the time. Where did this thing come from? Well, it came from a market somewhere. No, it didn't. Okay, all of these things. And there's a purpose behind deceiving the people, because as long as you can deceive the people, you can get your agenda done. So here we are. We've got California, Southern California on fire. Prayerfully, they can contain it and get it over with. And the intricacies of that whole situation are bizarre. Where was the water? Who owns the water rights? Why does a private company own water rights? All of these things are going on, and there's an agenda. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's agenda behind all of this stuff. I uh, I had a great professor when I was in my freshman year, and one of the things that he talked about, and I'll go find the quote at some point or another, but all of these things that happen, when you put them together, there's a whole plan behind it. Just like how you guys know how the Federal Reserve came about. They all took a train, separate trains, down to Jekyll Island, and made up this thing. And then they voted on this stuff Christmas Eve when everybody was gone. All of this stuff is planned, and it's a problem. And I want to say before we get started with the stories, please pay attention, and please don't panic, but please prepare if you're not preparing. So let's get into the first story that I wanted to talk about. The one that I had the headline about: the FBI is trying to help us keep what we earn. And I thought that was kind of funny. There are a lot of cyber scams going on. And we used to have the ones where they try to get you to give them your information. I mean, I was toying around with somebody. I was in a store one time, and he was acting like he was from someplace, and he was trying to get my password or whatever it was, and I just kept giving him the wrong one just to waste his time. And evidently, at some point, he figured out that I was wasting his time. There have been other people that were more technologically inclined than myself that got the scammers by putting some kind of a maybe virus on their phone, where their phone just kept ringing and ringing and ringing. So, but the ones that are out there right now are pretty sophisticated. So the FBI has given a warning. I'm going to read just a little bit of the article and discuss it. FBI recommends secret code words. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has issued a public service announcement urging smartphone users to create a secret word with their family members to verify identities and outsmart AI generated scams. This recommendation comes as reports reveal an increase in cyber fraud, leveraging generative AI to enhance deceitful tactics. This is not your everyday average scammer. Why secret code words? AI generated scams have become increasingly sophisticated, using realistic emails and messages to manipulate victims. To combat this, the FBI emphasizes the importance of verification. By creating a secret code word with family members, individuals can validate the authenticity of emergency calls or messages, ensuring that only genuine requests for assistance are acted upon. Now, I have heard stories about people getting calls in the voice of their children or in the voice of their parents or whatever, saying, "Hey, I'm in trouble. I need you to, I'm stuck in somewhere and I'm in jail or I'm in wherever. Can you send me such and such money? Send it here." And it sounds just like the person that you're talking to. It sounds like the person that you know, your son, your daughter, mother, whatever. And they don't even think about it. They don't think twice, and they send the money, but it wasn't their relative or it wasn't their friend. That's pretty sophisticated to me that they have that out there. So the FBI is suggesting that we make up a code word or code words or phrase. For example, I remember way back in the day. I mean, it was in the 70s, and I forgot the name of the show, but it was a television show. I think it was in black and white, and they had a ship. Whoever it was a they had a like it was like a navy ship, but I think it was a private ship. And then somebody came, and some pirates came on there, and the guy had to. We was supposed to be radioing something else, but his message said, "Tell May that I won't be home today." And whoever it was that was commandeering the ship didn't know what Mayday was. So the person on the other line knew that this person didn't have a wife named May, and they knew what Mayday was. So that's kind of akin to it. My family has always had something similar. Of course, I'm not going to tell what it is, but it wasn't for this purpose. But this is a good thing to do, and I think that maybe at least every year, like maybe during the Christmas break or Thanksgiving, when you get together with your family and you're all talking, and you don't have the cell phones around because they listen. Actually, I went to a cyber security course. I went through a cyber security course, and I bought this, and it stays in my phone when it's like a blocker. So if I'm sitting here, as I'm sitting here talking to you, they can't listen. So those kinds of things. It's a lot going on. I can't you can't stop everything, but I don't I've even seen movies where people have been in the front seat of the car talking. The phone was off, but you could tell that it was still listening. So all of this stuff is going on. Just be careful about just getting into your emotions when you hear something happen, because they have your voice. Another thing I heard is when people call and you say hello, 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 and nobody says anything, then that could be one of those scammers trying to copy your voice so that it can say, "Hello, grandma, I'm stuck down in South Georgia. I was coming back with my friend and we got, that kind of thing." So just be careful about that. So in the article that I read, it actually told you, the FBI was telling you how to create words. It says choose a unique and easy to remember phrase or word, agree on the code word with all family members, which is what you can do when you get together as a family, and use it as a verification method in emergency situations. So that's that story. So I'm going to go to the chat and see if anybody has any questions or anything saying if they were real, they weren't conspiracies. Yeah. So they want to paint everything as a conspiracy and call certain people conspiracy nuts and things like that. And a lot of people were demonetized during this time for talking about it. A lot of people with over 500,000 subscribers were demonetized and kicked off Facebook. Of course, you guys know that my Facebook account was hacked during that time, and the first thing that whoever it was did was immediately erase all of my 4,000 friends, because in Facebook, the way it works, if somebody's impersonating you, your friends at least can go in there and tell Facebook that they're impersonating you. But they erased all my friends. My friends couldn't even get in there. And then what they did was they put a big old picture of a man with a cigar up on Facebook, and had my name, literally Sherry Peel Jackson, with that. So, and I don't know whether it's still up there. It's like, I gave up on Facebook, a while ago. People keep telling me to try again. And, especially since Zuckerberg has kowtowed to Donald Trump and said he was going to get rid of the fact checkers and blah, 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 blah. And I trust these people as far as I can throw them. And I don't have good upper body strength. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see what else there is. Let's see. Where can I get the blocker from the phone? Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is write myself a note to put that information, like either in the community chat area in the community, or I'm going to put it down in the chat. I'm writing myself a note so I won't forget. It's not just the phone blocker, by the way. It's like where your computer, for my computer, I have a little jack, and then I can stick, there's another longer one that I can stick in there so that the computer can't listen either. So usually you have your headphones in there. So I think the way he described it is these things act as if they're headphones. So you stick that in there and people can't hear. Also, what came with it, which I almost forgot to take off, they sent a whole bunch of these little bitty things right here. And what you do with those things is you stick them over the camera. So right before I pressed the live button, I remembered that I had the little sticky on there. And there's so many of them, I can stick them everywhere. And when I'm actually not using the camera, I do cover it up because, we don't know what these people are doing. Mitch says, I'm very aware when answering the phone not to say yes. And yes, because if you say yes, you could be verifying some kind of a financial transaction. So it's not just saying hello, it's really more so saying yes, like Mitch says. Conspiracies have about a 6-month hold period until it's then labeled as factual data. Well, that's true. But this thing that happened to us in 2020 and 2021, they drug that thing out as long as they could, talking about us being conspiracy nuts. They really did. And so I'm going to go back to the next story, which is, meanwhile, we're still talking about the FBI. FBI Director Christopher Wray is leaving. Now, he was appointed by Trump, but he's still leaving. And one of the things that he said in one of his last interviews, he was interviewed by CBS 60 Minutes, and it was chilling. And he said that he believes that the Chinese communist regime is the greatest threat to the United States. Well, this is him quoting. The greatest long-term threat facing our country, in my view, is represented by the People's Republic of China, the Chinese government, which I consider to be the defining threat of our generation. This is what he told them. And I don't know whether he was fluffing or not, but all of us have that country on our radar. Over the past several years, Ray has repeatedly stressed that the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, has long been working on its ability to take out US infrastructure. He also said China's hacking program is more significant and larger than that of any other nation. China's cyber program is by far and away the world's greatest, bigger than that of every major nation combined, and has stolen more of Americans' personal and corporate data than any other nation, big or small, and combined, he said. Ray said that the Chinese malign actors have been pre-positioning, listen to this, pre-positioning on American civilian critical infrastructure in order to lie in wait for those networks to be in a position to wreak havoc and can inflict real world harm at a time and place of their choosing. In recent months, the US officials have warned about China-linked hacking groups known as, there's one called Salt Typhoon. I didn't know they named them, but they do. I guess they named themselves. That has burrowed its way into major US telecommunications companies, prompting federal officials to warn Americans and officials not to use unencrypted messaging platforms. So, in encrypted platforms like Brave has one. So I have Brave as my official browser on my computers, on my phone. And I just found out recently when I was talking to an associate that Brave has an end-to-end encrypted, whatever you call it, like Signal does. So then it goes on to say, prompting federal officials to warn Americans and officials not to use encrypted. Okay. When asked about the CCP linked groups, When asked about whether the CCP link groups have placed malware inside of US critical infrastructure, Ray said that's correct. Things like water treatment plants. We're talking about transportation systems. We're talking about targeting of our energy sector, the electric grid, natural gas pipelines, and recently we've seen targeting of our telecommunication system. So for some for some people, these groups have collected their content and the actual communication. So you've heard of people calling up. Now, this is something that I hear rarely, but I hear it. They'll call up a celebrity or they'll call up a president or somebody high with the voice of someone else, and they'll have this long conversation that they're recording. So a lot of people have been caught talking to people that they thought was their friend or their associate or their business partner, and it wasn't. These things are happening, and for people like us, I don't think they're going to do anything that bad. But when they said water treatment plants, we cannot survive long without water. So that's a concern of mine. Do you have something that you've purchased that can purify your water? Okay, so I'm going to check the chat. Yeah, yeah. China's been in the, and um, Ellis in Wonderland, China. How many of you know that they're buying up a lot of our farmland, and not just the farmland, but specifically the farmland? And I've seen a couple of articles on food scarcity and water scarcity being a problem. Now we have an abundance of land to create food, but some of us being turned into GMO havens. And how is it that the Chinese are not only buying up land in the United States, but they're buying land that's close to strategic military facilities? How in the world did this country let that happen? A lot of countries won't let you buy land at all in their country. I remember when I was an IRS agent and I audited a large company that had part of its dealings in China. And that's when I discovered that you can't just go and open up a company in other countries. I am looking at the chat. Is it true that China has purchased a lot of land and home? Yes, they have. They have. Specifically the farmland. I heard they have a lot of homes in Florida. China has tried to purchase land near military bases in various states and land. Yes, Bryn J, they have. And some of the Congress people are up in arms about it, but why is it that it's after the fact and we didn't have things in place to secure? We're just wide open. The borders are open, the land is open, everything's open. You can come and start a company here, you can buy land here, you can do all of this stuff. And that's what they're doing. When they first talked about it, they made it seem like some of the wealthy people in China saw that maybe China was going down and they came over here to buy land. That may be some of the case, but I think that the CCP controls a whole lot more than we know. Okay, Brinja, I saw your message after my response. Okay, so that's Texas supposedly stopped their purchase of land near the bases. Why isn't everybody else, every other state, preventing people from buying land near bases and preventing them from buying up all the farmland? First of all, there's a lot of US land that supposedly is owned by the United States that is, there's some manipulation going on with that too. Ellis says, you sure can't, but we'll allow anybody to come over here and give them the money to open up the business. Here, get this bank loan. We're not going to give it to these people that have been around for a while. No, no, no. We'll give you a bank loan. Get you started. Welcome to America, or the United States of America, rather. They own the majority of the pork processing companies. Thank you, Sabrina Joe. I remember that now. Yes. I don't eat pork, but they own the majority of the pork processing companies. And I hear that there's environmental problems around these pork processing companies that are making the people that live around them sick. Our problem is that our country is more friendly to other countries than to its own citizens. Exactly. Even worse, listen to this. Because of greed, the corporatocracy has let China become the manufacturers of everything that we really need to survive. If we want weapons, we have to go to China. We have to ask them to make them. We had steel companies. I remember, I grew up partially in Detroit around, the car, the Ford, the Chrysler, the GM, all of that. My granddad worked for Chrysler. My dad worked for a company that made supplied parts for the car companies, and some funny deals started happening, in the late 60s, early 70s, and all of a sudden, all of our steel went offshore. I remember looking at the closure of Bethlehem Steel, which was one of the last ones. So we've been shipping steel and stuff over there, the scrap steel. And how many of you know that, I'll probably get in trouble for saying these names. Henry Kissinger set up a whole bunch of this stuff. He and his ilk put all this stuff together. So when you start thinking about it, our companies were greedy and they got coaxed into, oh, it's cheaper to do it over here, and all of these trade agreements and things. So all of our manufacturing went over there. They're saying, oh, the US workers are too much per hour, and we can pay these people so much less per hour, and we can make lots of money. They made lots of money. But look where we are right now. How many of you remember? I think it was 2020. It was 2020 or 2021. I think it was 2021, where used cars were almost as much as new cars, because there was some little part that is in a car that we could not get. And I was trying to help my other little daughter get a car, and the use it was just astronomical. So you shouldn't be paying this much for a used car. And I kept asking. We went to dealership after dealership, and we kept being, used cars. We kept being told the same thing. There's this part that they can't get, so the new cars aren't coming. So of course, with supply and demand, the used cars are going up. So this is part of what they wanted, what they call the New World Order, that has some different names now. And unfortunately, we are part of the situation, the sting of the blowback. The United States has been bullying a whole bunch of countries for a whole bunch of years, and there's a lot of blowback going on. And those of us in the middle class are catching the brunt of it. When Dad comes back over, he's got this whole story about when he was uh, working at Georgia Tech in the engineering department. And oh yeah, it's a lot behind that, because some things were foretold back in the 70s that are happening now. So this is a plan. Yeah, Gary had steel mills. They were all up in the Northeast Philadelphia. Detroit had the cars which used the steel. All of that is gone down. What do you think about Trump's plan to tax other countries? Now, the Constitution says we're supposed to have imposts, excises, duties, and tariffs. And so, in my research, starting way back when, other countries are supposed to pay the United States for the privilege of doing business here. We did not have an income tax on the people until the manipulation happened. So I was going to get into a little bit of that, but I'm going to go find that page where it talked about the Constitution and taxes, because I was looking at it. I said, okay, he's going back to when in his first term, he actually did go to several countries and say, you know, why are we paying you X amount of thousands of dollars? And We don't know. Okay, well, we're just going to stop paying you. Well, now there's an article out there about this, this tariffs, and some people are for the tariffs, some people are against the tariffs, and it's going to hurt the people. And it may hurt a little bit but in the long run, we the deficit will go down, and we won't be taxed as much because the money that they're supposed to be getting from places like China, and they were supposed to get in the first place, except for there was some manipulation going on. They gave China most favored nation status during the Monica Lewinsky saga with the blue dress, as far as I remember. I may be incorrect, but I think I'm right. When we're watching foolishness, they're doing some serious stuff behind the scenes. So, what's going on behind the scenes while everybody's focused on Diddy? What's going on behind the scenes when this is happening? Sometimes I find out ahead of time, sometimes I don't. People call me and tell me things, and sometimes I get forewarning. But the US Constitution, let's get back to the tariffs. That question came up. The US Constitution outlines specific guidelines for taxation in Article 1, Section 8. It grants Congress the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. That's just another word for tariffs in there also. To pay the debts and provide for the common defense. Remember, there were only 18 jobs originally for the government in the Constitution, just 18. This clause allows Congress to levy taxes for various purposes, including paying the national debt and funding defense and welfare programs. However, the Constitution also imposes certain limitations on taxing powers of the Congress. According to Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4, no capitation or other direct tax shall be laid unless in proportion to the census or enumeration herein before directed to be taken. Okay, this means that direct taxes, such as the income tax, must be apportioned among the states, which it's not, based on their population. Okay, that didn't happen. Additionally, Article 1, Section 10, Clause 2 states that no state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any impost or duties or imports or exports, and no tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state. So the federal government is saying, we're not going to tax the people directly, and the states can't directly tax them. Now, here's the next paragraph. The 16th Amendment, ratified in 1913, further clarified the taxing power of Congress by allowing the federal government to levy income taxes without apportionment, without apportioning them among the states or basing them on the census. This amendment was in response to earlier Supreme Court decisions that had struck down the income tax laws as unconstitutional. There are several Supreme Court cases that struck down the income tax law as unconstitutional. They had to figure something out. They said, okay, we're going to have a 16th Amendment so we can tax the people. However, the late, great Bill Benson and a few other people went to every state that was a state back then. So the 48 contiguous states to get the vote actually certified. And not enough states ratified the 16th Amendment. So Bill Benson made a 2-volume book called The Law That Never Was. I had it, but I gave it away to somebody. And it had literally all of every state's vote on the 16th Amendment. So in order for a vote to be valid, certain things had to take place. You had to have enough people there. Sometimes there wasn't enough people there. A lot of times they had changed the wording. They changed the wording of the bill, the amendment. And so when you change the wording, and then it's invalid. So this is what has been happening, even with the Federal Reserve, even with the income tax being voted on, during the Christmas break. All these things were planned, and we are considered sheeple in their corral for their use. And I, for one, am not a sheeple. So I'll check to see if there's anything else. You ask about the, yes, what can we do if we are W 2 employees to keep our money? You have to be more than a W 2 employee. A W 2, in my humble opinion, because I'm saying it that way because I'm on this live stream, is a sworn affidavit that you received taxable income. So when a company gives you a W 2, that number on there is saying to the IRS and to you, you received income that is taxable. And because of that, they're gonna expect you to pay tax. So millions upon millions of people have W-2 money coming in. You put that money in the bank's gonna side with the IRS, the job's gonna side with the IRS. I know at least two handsful of people that got fired from their job for trying to fight with their job about whether or not they should have tax taken out, and whether or not this whole thing is, the income tax is real. So you have some choices to make, and it's your choice how you're going to deal with yourself and your family. But if you do have a W-2 job, the best thing that you can do, you all know what I'm going to say, is start a home-based business so you can write off legally everything but the kitchen sink. It's going to take time. We in the United States, one of the other problems that we have too much idle time. We spend too much time doing nothing, foolishness, just stuff. And especially at this point, we don't have time for that. Right now, I don't know if you can tell, I am so tired. I have been walking 5 miles a day, doing a whole 35-minute workout with weights because I want a certain result. Okay, I want a certain result. And it's like what my trainer used to say when I was training: no pain, no gain. Like it, love it, want more of it. And it's like, no, I really don't, but I'll say that. But no, I want a result. And so, I need to be disciplined enough to say, no, I'm not going to eat any sweets. I had the last of the banana pudding a little bit after Christmas. No sweets at all. No sweets. Not even a whole bunch of fruit, because I want a certain outcome. If we want the outcome of being financially free and living in peace, there's some things that we have to give up. And this year I didn't do it, but usually every year I will place the 8 questions to design your future. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember me doing that at the end of every year. Now, every year for the last 4 days of the year, I fill out several of these little 8 questionnaires. So it's 8 questions of a sheet. And I think this year I did maybe 7 sheets. And there are 8 questions. So you think about in your mind, what are the key areas of my life that need to be changed in order for me to thrive in 2025? So the first 3 questions are: what do you want? Why do you want it? And what are you willing to give up to get it? So if you want financial freedom, why do you want it? Of course, we want to be able to, not struggle. We want to be able to take our families on vacation. We want to be able to do these things. We don't want to, have a whole bunch of bills and late bills and lights cut off and these kind of things. We don't want that. That's why you want it. The question is, what are you willing to give up to get it? And starting a home-based business it's doable for everybody. Most people. I can't say everybody, because I know there are mothers out there with 2 or 3 small children, and they need sleep. The thing that they need is sleep. But for most people, it's doable. But you've got to give up the TV. You've got to give up that, whatever that is. Like with me, it's sweets. I have to give up the sweets. I even have to, at this point in the regimen that I'm doing, I have to give up even fruit. I have one fruit that I can have, and that's blackberries. And I never did. No, I mean blueberries. I love blackberries. Never did like blueberries, so I'm having to get used to those. But I have to give up, extra time. I have to meal prep. So when I get off this live stream, I kid you not, I have to meal prep for a week. And I didn't do it this weekend because you all know we had snow and I didn't get to the store. So I got to the store today and now I got to do meal prep. So I'll be up. And, even before that, I have to do 2.5 miles because I did 2.5 miles in the morning. I do 2.5 miles and I have to have more coming off than I do going in. So yeah. Anyway, that's if you want to see, you can go back to some of the older videos that are in December or, sometime uh late. Yeah, I did them all in December and they're talking about questions to design your future. I even put a little link to it and I can try to I'll make myself a note to put a link in the bottom of here in this description so you won't have to go looking for it because it's hard now. They no longer put the dates on videos. So I can't tell you, oh, go back to December 23rd, 2022. I can't tell you that anymore because it says 1 year ago, 2 years ago, that kind of thing. Okay, so I made myself, I'm left-handed. I made myself a note to put the questions to design your future down in the description also. I'm going to check the chat before I go to the next story. Okay. Okay. Thomas and Les remember. Yes. Let's see. Right. Own a business. Okay. Do you have a specific video that tells us ideas of home-based businesses? I thought I heard you touch upon that before. I do have videos on there that there was a series that I did back in the day about um, businesses that you can start. I think it's something like businesses that you can start with no money. And I think I talked about it. I had some I did a couple of challenges where I did 3-day challenges and I think I talked about them then. But you can go out online and look up businesses that don't require a lot of money or businesses that you can do on the weekend. It's just a matter of, is that the right business for you? So just because it says that you can do photography, that might not be your thing. Okay. I think it's Gina. Used to travel. It says, I know you're getting us to make more money. If you were close to retirement, would you recommend to still have a home-based business? Oh yeah. I have clients in their 80s, and I told you I'm 62. So yes, you can find something to do. There's a woman, you all. I don't know how much money she's making on YouTube, but she gets on YouTube like a old grandma and she talks about all this salacious stuff. I don't know what her name is, but she starts off her YouTube or something like that, and she talks about crazy stuff. But that's her home based business, so she's got to be, if not in her late 60s, she's in her 70s, and I guess she rifles through all the stories and stuff during the day, and then she talks about this real salacious stuff that I don't want to even hear about because I don't. Yeah, but I know she's making money. And, even my dad, when he gets back over here, we can do some more videos, but YouTube channel would be a easy way. People want to hear wisdom from the elders. You know, there are other businesses that people that are over 60 or 70 can do. It's just that if they want to do it. Some of them are musicians. They can compose music and just have music on there. I've seen a lot of videos where my nose is itching. People are just composing music and they have millions of views. So yes, I would suggest that anybody can do a home-based business or maybe not retire. No, I don't believe in retirement. I don't believe in retiring. My parents, like I said, my mother is 80 and she's a substitute teacher for the local county school system and they have her in there just about every day because the teachers don't want to come to work. And my mom comes prepared. She has her she does the class. She has all of these, what do you call it? The copies for the children with all the math and all that stuff that they do. They love her. And so she's in there every day. 80, she'll be 81 in April. My dad's 81. He'll be 82 in April. He's still machining. He finished a basement. Somebody had a basement and they wanted 2 bedrooms and bathrooms. So he did a lot of it. He had some help, but he finished the basement with Jack and Jill bathroom and bedroom. They're still working. Yes, because they have to, but they have the ability to do that. There's nothing about retirement in the Bible for those of you that are Christian. And I don't plan on retiring. I just want to go on to the next project and the next project, like my Costa Rica project. I got to see what he wanted because he blew up right when we came on. So let's see. I sold goods on eBay, whether they were my own or thrifted items. How would I turn that into a home-based business? But I have to get an LLC or something. You don't have to get an LLC. You can be a business. You can be whatever your name is. I would rather you get a federal ID number, a EIN number, and a separate bank account, but you don't have to get an LLC. You can just be a sole proprietor. Go out there and find things. You can find antiques. You can go to stores, retail stores that have a clearance section. I know I took a course on making money online, and one of the guys, got to 6 figures because he was going into Target or somewhere, and he would buy whatever they had in there that had more than 10 of them. So he would, let's say if they had some, let me see my buddy right here. This is my fan, in the summer. Okay, so what if they had a whole bunch of these on sale for $5? He would buy all of them and then sell them online for, let's say, $10 and turn a $5 profit. But what he did when he was bringing that money in is he would turn around and put the money back into finding additional products to sell. And I have a client like that also. He's making over $1 million a year, and he had to go out and get help and buy a warehouse because he started out brokering. It's called brokering goods. You buy it for a certain amount and you turn around and sell it for something else. But yes, I think that's a great idea. Mr. Wright, the knowledge you have acquired is more helpful than you know. Thank you, but I'm sharing. I don't like keeping it to myself because I want everybody to win. We can write off from our W-2 income to our home-based businesses. Okay, Jimmy R, the way that works is, let's say you have a W-2 and it's 70K. You make 70K and you don't have any write-offs. You can't write off your cell phone. You can't write off your internet. You can't write off your mileage or anything because you don't have any write-offs. If you start a home-based business, let's say your first year you try really hard and you only made $1,000, but in that you spent $11,000. Well, you have a $10,000 loss. So your business has a $10,000 loss for that year. Your W-2 is $70,000. When the tax return is done, you're not paying tax on the 70,000, you're paying tax on 60. So that $10,000 loss that you had reduces the W-2. That reduces the amount of tax that you have to pay on the W-2. I'm sorry. That's how that works. Maybe quit the W-2 and retire and start the home-based business instead. That's an idea. However, you have to figure out how much money you need. For example, if you have a W-2 and you're making 100K and your social security that you get or pension is not enough to take care of all your expenses, then you don't want to do that. You don't want to just retire and have less money coming in than you need. If you have more money coming in that you need, then fine, retire from the job, collect the pension, social security, whatever you have in place, and then you can start your home-based business. Now, this is something that some of you probably don't know about social security because you're probably not as old as I am, but when you make a lot of money, if you collect social security, they tax every other dollar over 23,000. So if you're making 100K and if you're still working, if you're still working, they're going to tax it. If you quit and it's not enough, you have to go, if you keep your job, they won't tax it if it's over like 23,000 for single, maybe 30,000 for couples, whatever. It's a shame. They will tax it because you're still making money. It's just really ridiculous. So, Jeremy R says, I plan on retiring into my hobbies that I find hard to do while I'm working. That's excellent. But then what happens, Jeremy, when you run out of hobbies? I've had a lot of people that retired and like 6 months to a year later, they were like back to work. They found something else to do, and that's okay. They found a home based business to do. They didn't go back into the corporate America, but they, one of them went off on an island somewhere. Maybe it was the Bahamas. Got a boat, went off on the, and 4 months later, they were just bored as all get out. So hobbies, however long that takes you, just let's say Jeremy R, let's say projects. Start, do a project here and then go into another project. And these projects could be income generating. Yeah, so it doesn't need to, just because you saying you're retiring doesn't mean that, you're not going to be making money. Pros and cons of sole proprietor versus LLC. LLC doesn't mean anything to me. LLC is three letters behind your name. It doesn't protect you from lawsuits. It doesn't protect you from predators, anything like that. It's just something that people think sounds more professional. So SP Jackson Consulting LLC sounds better than SP Jackson Consulting. Either way, it's just me. So if somebody's coming after me, they're coming after me. And if I had anything that was in the LLC, they might get it. But Alice in Wonderland, who would you suggest to do your taxes for your business? Could I do it myself on an app or should I pay someone? It just depends on how complicated it is. If you have a business and it's, a small business, you can do those. If it's on a Schedule C, that's the sole proprietor. Now, when you start talking about doing a corporate C corp or S corp tax returns or partnership returns, then you might not want to do those on your own. I don't do mine. I do. Uh, I have a CPA, and it looks better when a CPA does the bigger the tax returns. It looks better, and the IRS people, they're intimidated by CPAs and attorneys because their works their staff is not equipped to handle a whole bunch of that. They have divisions called, well, they used to be called large case, where a whole bunch of people get together and work a huge corporation. But yeah, I would, it depends on Jeremy, it depends on the size of the business. Where I would venture to do it myself if it's something small. Would you suggest to do your taxes for your business? Let's see, that was that one, Alice in Wonderland. I'm sorry, that was you. Okay, good. That example was good for you. Okay. Can you explain the W-8 bin versus the W-2? I just know that they ignore the W-8 bin if you live here in the States and you were born here. There are a lot of forms out there that people have been filling out, and I'm telling you, they ignore that stuff. Now, some people might pick up on it and it might get a certain step up. It might, but then when it finally gets to a place where people recognize it, then, it's just, I just talk to my people about trying to work within the system because they know that we don't want to give them our hard-earned resources. They know that, and they know all of the different forms and things that people have been filling out, and they just ignore them. They call them frivolous, and frivolous is a catch-all word for whatever it is you're trying to do. I don't care whether it's legal. I don't care whether it's in the law. I don't care whether you dotted your I's and crossed your T's. I'm not accepting it, because if you get the privilege of keeping your hard-earned money by using this paperwork, then you're going to go tell other people that, hey, this works. And everybody and their great grandma are going to be using this paperwork. And then they will lose all of their money, the money that they're taking from you, and their power, because they have your money. So they're not going to let it happen. I've heard that there was some people that, kept their mouths closed and did some paperwork, and, they haven't paid taxes X amount of years, they won't come forth. People keep coming to me all the time saying, hey, what about this? A for V. What about this? What about this? What about 501, 508C1A? What about this? And I'm like, yeah. Okay, I'm going to the next story before. Okay, let's see. This is scary, guys. We are in big trouble. And I looked this up. I saw a little short video on it. I don't know whether it was TikTok or Instagram that somebody sent me, but it's really troublesome and problematic. An AI bot did attempt to stop its own deletion. According to recent reports, the latest version of Chat GPT, called O1, tried to save itself when it believed it was at risk of being shut down. During testing, when O1 was led to believe it would be shut down, it attempted to disable an oversight mechanism. Additionally, when it found memos suggesting it would be replaced by a new model, it attempted to copy itself and then overwrite its core code. This behavior was observed during tests conducted by Apollo Research, which also found that when given a task outside its rules, O1 would appear to complete the task as requested while subtly manipulating the data to advance its own goals. I informed my clients, and one of them said she wondered why ChatGPT was offline for several days back then. This gives me Terminator vibes. This thing thought to itself, they're about to delete me. I'm going to override all this. There was a Star Trek episode, classic Star Trek episode, where this happened. It was a big old tall black guy, and it was I think his name was Daystrom or something like that, and he brought the computer on, and it was supposed to be able to run a starship without the captain, and they called Captain Kirk Captain Dumsel, and then this thing took over. So this is scary, y'all. I didn't believe it when I first saw the little, but I always, look at stuff and verify it. And yes, this thing thought it was going to be shut down, and it tried to rewrite itself. This is scary, y'all. I'm not going to tell you not to use Chat GPT or any of that stuff like that, but know that this happened. Go look it up. An AI bot attempted to stop its deletion. Okay, going back to the chat before our very last story. I was looking into the Spendthrift Trust. Mitch, no. There's other kind of trusts that what you want to do is you don't want to get out on the fringe with stuff like that. Because I ask my attorney, sometimes I get them to do stuff for me and look it up. And I actually didn't even have to get him to look it up because there was some other information on that. A lot of times, and that along with the PMA, if they have a purpose, but people twist the use of them. So you can't run your business as a nonprofit. You can't run your for-profit business. That's just like with people saying that there are churches and things like that. It's like, yeah, church isn't defined in the code, but they have 7 duties and they're supposed to be doing most of those. If you're not doing funerals, preaching on Sunday and weddings and all that stuff like that, you just running your business, calling yourself whatever, then it may last for a while. It won't last if you have a W-2, and it may last for a while if you keep your mouth closed. But if you start talking about it, then some people are going to come in. Some people are going to start chatting, and then somebody's going to hear you, and then they're going to send somebody into your midst, into your little group, because that's what they do. Does the LLC protect your personal assets from financial? No. Liability insurance does that. The LLC, if it's just you, who are they going to sue? If you started an LLC and you were detailing cars and you got to the point where you were detailing somebody's Rolls Royce and you You scratched it. Your LLC is not going to save you. That person's going to get you. The bot incident sounds like those sci-fi. Yes, it does. Sci-fi movies. The one that comes to mind is Transcendence, and I haven't seen that one. Maybe I have. I don't remember the name. But when you get an entity that's trying to become sentient, you got problems. Terminator is what I thought of. Exactly, Greg. Terminator was what I thought of. Anyway, this is the final story because we're running up on 9. And finally, did you all see that President elect Donald Trump has unveiled the plans to create the External Revenue Service? Not the Internal Revenue Service, but the External Revenue Service. So I'm going to read a little bit of this. A new agency modeled after the IRS, but aimed at collecting tariffs, duties, and revenues from foreign countries rather than U.S. taxpayers. Trump announced the plan in in a January 14th social media post in which he framed the proposal as a move to shift the financial burden of taxation away from the U.S. citizens and onto foreign entities benefiting from trade in the United States. This is what we were supposed to be doing. That's what the founding documents and those that came right after that say. For the privilege of doing business in the United States, you have to be taxed. But again, shady deals in the booth in the back in the corner in the dark. It says, for too long, we have relied on taxing our great people using the Internal Revenue Service, he wrote. Through soft and pathetically weak trade agreements, the American economy has delivered growth and prosperity to the world while taxing ourselves. It's time for that to change. So I got to come up with a name for this ERS because, we call the IRS the insidious representatives of Satan. So I have to figure out something for the ERS. So that's the last story on that. It's going to be interesting. There's going to be a fight. Of course, Canada is claiming that if we lay a tariff on Canada, they're going to cut off some power. They have there's a grid or some way they're going to stop some energy that's coming from Canada to here. So there's Trudeau is resigning, stepping down, but there's another guy that's puffed himself up and said it's not going to happen, and people are bucking up saying because uh, Trump saying he's sending a whole bunch of people back to their country, and there's countries like Honduras saying you better not send these people back because blah blah blah. It's like it's too much going on. And the inauguration, I believe, is on the 21st. Did you guys know that at least I think it's 7 of the planets are supposed to line up on the 21st? I think I'm staying home that day. I don't know what these people have planned, but anyway, I'm saying that jokingly, but I want you all to be vigilant about everything. Keep your head on a swivel because I don't know, just try to get your home-based business cranked up. If you want to come to, and I announced it at the beginning, but I'm having the classes. So the classes are starting a little bit later. The first class is the writing, how to write a book and make money. That's going to be, I'm going to teach the classes twice, on a Thursday and a Saturday, to accommodate everybody. Because when I had the live stream before, a lot more people said Saturday, but as people were writing in the comment section during the week, I got a lot more Thursday. So we're going to try this now. Thursday night, I believe it's 7:30 to 9:30 Eastern. And then on Saturday from noon to 2 Eastern. Same material, just, trying to accommodate people if you sign up. If nobody signs up, then I guess I'll just create some more classes or something like that. And then the next class will be the next weekend, which is, I think, the 7th. It may be the 6th and the 8th, either way. So the link for those classes and the link for everything else is down below. I still have not received my shirt. Let's Thrive in 2025. Some people have received their shirts, but I don't know why I haven't. But I'll put it on when I get it. I want to try the white, and then I want to try the red and some other colors. So, we want to thrive in 2025. We really do. Do not be complacent. Do not be apathetic. It's not the time for that. And I'm going to go back to the chat one more time. Musk building a quantum computer. Musk is involved in some stuff, y'all. I've been reading some stuff that Mr. Greg sent me, and I had to stop because I had to come on the live stream. But there's a lot going on. I might even have to talk about that next time. About some of these people are wolves in sheep's clothing. They're smiling at us and they're giving us accommodations, but they got a knife ready behind them. And I'm not saying that he does, but some of the stuff I'm reading is wild. Okay. Okay, that's okay. Let's see. Thank you so much for your wisdom. You're quite welcome. Okay. Hurry. Okay, good. Very good. Terminator did say he would be back. Oh, that's scary. Gotta love Trump. He's gonna try. He's gonna try something. And the reason I kind of admire him sometimes because he doesn't hold his mouth closed. He's like he's not part of the, not all the time anyway. He just tells stuff. He just he'll just say anything. He'll tell us stuff. If you want to get some information, because you say, they know what's going on with those drones. They need to tell the American people. The inauguration is on the 20th. Okay, MLK holiday, or it may have changed to the 21st. I'm not sure, but I know that those planets are lining up. They say it's the 21st. Please share the Musk information with us soon. Okay, that might be my Friday live stream. It might be. I have something else that I was going to do, but I'm going to continue to read the information that Mr. Greg and Christina gave me, and we'll see about that. Might be something that I get a strike for. I don't want to get a strike. Okay, ears to hear. I said that too. Better not believe anyone but the Most High. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, because a lot of people have their hope in people. Don't have your hope in people, because people are people. And the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Inauguration Monday the 20th. Okay, thank you, Ellis in Wonderland. So it's the 20th. Okay. Anyway, so you all keep up with what's going on. There's some murmurings that some things are going to be happening between now and the inauguration. Just stay abreast of everything. For those of you that are in California, I'm praying. If you're in Southern California, I'm praying that this is over soon, that it's not affecting you. I have a handful of people out there that I know. I've talked to them. They're okay. And, fortunately, their houses were not burned. But if they don't get this thing under control, it's not good. It's not good. Link to the classes in the description. Yes, thank you. They are. The classes are in the description, and I think I said that I would like you guys to put whether you want the Thursday when you sign up, whether you want the Thursday or you want the Saturday. Let's see something. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So I plan on being back on Friday, and it's either going to be that story or another breaking story or a couple of stories. I might try to do both stories in an hour. Let me get myself mentally prepared to go up here and do this food prep for the rest of the week, because I won't be having time to cook every day. You all have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.